quorum being present, the subcommittee will come to order. I'll start by recognizing myself and the ranking member to present our opening statements. Since this is our first subcommittee hearing in the 114th Congress, I'll recognize members of the subcommittee that may be present after my opening statement and the ranking member's opening statement for 1 minute, present their opening remarks, introduce themselves to the committee, and if they wish to do so, they may also submit remarks for the record. So I'll now yield myself as much time as I may consume to present my opening statement. My name is Duncan. I am proud to be the subcommittee chairman on the Western Hemisphere. I previously served as subcommittee chairman in the House Homeland Security Committee, the subcommittee on oversight and management efficiency, and I'm glad to be here in the Western Hemisphere subcommittee. So let me extend a warm welcome to the returning members of the subcommittee, and I'm grateful for the friendship and partnership of the ranking member, Mr. Suarez from New Jersey. I look forward to working closely with Albio and the members of this subcommittee to help make the Department of State and USAID's action in the Western Hemisphere as efficient and as effective as possible in order to advance U.S. interest in the region. I would also like to introduce our new members, and the only one on my side of the aisle is Mr. DeSantis from Florida, but the other members on the committee are Ted Yoho from Florida, Tom Emmer from Minnesota. On the minority side, Mr. Joaquin Castro of Texas, Robin Kelly of Illinois, and Alan Lowenthal of California. They each bring a wealth of experience, and I'm glad to have them on the subcommittee. On the majority side, our staff is Mark Walker, I guess the chief of the committee staff, and Rebecca Ulrich, who formerly worked for me in my office and also on the subcommittee on Homeland Security, and Josuke Bautista on the end down there working for the committee. Those are on the majority side, and I hope the ranking member will introduce some of his staff members on the minority side, because we work closely together. It's important for our members to lean on our team to make sure we're effective, and if we can do that. Today I want to consider the strategic importance of the Western Hemisphere for U.S. interest. While our attention is often captivated by events in Asia, Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa, I do not believe that crises and firefighting should determine the level of a region's priority for the United States. I've traveled extensively in the region, Argentina, Brazil, Canada, Colombia, Mexico, Paraguay, and Peru, both in my private life and also through official duties. I've got a deep affinity for the entrepreneurial people and cultures of the region. I also firmly believe that U.S. should pay more attention to countries in the Western Hemisphere. These countries, by virtue of proximity, trade, travel, or culture, have the ability to truly influence the United States, and our lack of focus on issues right here in our own neighborhood is a disservice to the American people and to our committed partners within the region. Although Roosevelt pledged the United States to the policy of a good neighbor in 1933, the U.S. has drifted in many ways towards benign neglect of our neighbors in Latin America and the Caribbean. U.S. disengagement, evidenced by unsustained U.S. attention and tactical rather than strategic approaches in the region, has enabled other actors to step into the vacuum of leadership. While countries in the Western Hemisphere do not experience the same level of chronic instability as others around the globe, this region is unique by virtue of its geography. With no oceans separating the Americas, both threats and opportunities in Canada, the Caribbean, Latin America have a greater potential to impact the United States homeland and the American people, as well as American businesses. Therefore, we must remain vigilant and truly engaged. This year promises to be a very interesting year. With President Obama's Cuba policy shift and recent bilateral talks in Havana, this subcommittee will do our due diligence to hold the administration accountable for its actions on Cuba in order to require demonstrable results to benefit the Cuban people. Venezuela's unstable situation, deteriorating economic conditions with major shortages and inflation at over 60%, declining oil production and human rights abuses also require sustained U.S. attention. Furthermore, this year's election of a new Secretary General at the Organization of American States, or the OAS, and federal and municipal elections in 13 countries in the hemisphere promise to keep us focused on advocating for transparency, adherence to the rule of law, and democratic governments, as well as religious and press freedoms in the hemisphere. Over 68,000 unaccompanied children crossing the U.S.-Mexico border last summer. This subcommittee will work to keep the administration accountable to securing the U.S.-Mexico border and preventing a second surge of migrants from Central America through wise use of American tax dollars. Finally, the U.S. assumption of the chairmanship of the Arctic Council later this spring provides an excellent opportunity for active leadership on energy, security, and freedom of navigation issues in and around the Arctic. Since coming to Congress in 2011, I've had three simple priorities summarized by acronym JEF: create jobs for the American people, promote U.S. energy security and exports, and return to the wisdom of our founding fathers. I believe there are many ways to dig deeper into each of these areas with U.S. interests in the Western Hemisphere. First, we've seen many opportunities for U.S. businesses to engage in the region and create more American jobs in the U.S. as a result. This region as a whole is one of the fastest growing trading partners. For instance, according to the Inter-American Dialogue, between 2000 and 2013, U.S. sales to Latin America more than doubled, as did the region exports to U.S. markets. In fact, the U.S. provides almost 90% of the $60 billion of remittance income to the region and has 6 free trade agreements involving 12 countries in the Western Hemisphere. This includes 4 individual FTAs, NAFTA, CAFTA, Dominican Republic. Opportunities also exist for more trade with the Pacific Alliance countries of Chile, Colombia, Mexico, and Peru, which represent 36% of the region's economy, 50% of its international trade, and 41% of all incoming foreign investment. Additionally, with Canada, Chile, Mexico, and Peru all participating in Trans-Pacific Partnership TPP negotiations, I'm very interested to see how TPP will impact the region. Similarly, Chile became the 38th participant in the visa waiver program 1 year ago this month, and U.S. Departments of State and Homeland Security have been in discussions with the governments of Brazil and Uruguay about the criteria for joining the visa waiver program. That will make it easier for citizens to travel between our countries and for private sector investment and collaboration within these countries. Second, energy opportunities abound in the region today, and I'm excited about the potential for U.S. energy exports to our neighbors in the hemisphere. In the 113th Congress, I authored legislation to implement the Outer Continental Shelf Transboundary Hydrocarbon Agreement between Mexico and the United States. This was approved by the House and ultimately signed into law by the President. I believe we can do so much more on the energy front. Western Hemisphere is home to nearly 1/3 of the world's oil, and the region has nearly 337 billion barrels of estimated recovery in oil and 20% of the world's proven oil reserves. The abundance of U.S. reserves in oil, natural gas, and shale gas resources, the capability to export liquefied and compressed natural gas, and the administration's recent announcement of offshore drilling in the Atlantic, the U.S. has many reasons to partner with like-minded countries who seek to spur economic growth, achieve energy security, and reduce energy cost. Venezuela's dire situation resulting impact on its Petrocaribe program has caused 18 Central American and Caribbean nations that receive its oil on preferential terms to look elsewhere for energy security. The U.S. is a natural partner for these policies. On January 27th, the ranking member and I co-hosted an event with members of Congress and Caribbean leaders who were in Washington for the Caribbean Energy Security Summit. We discussed ways to deepen energy cooperation to assist Caribbean nations in achieving energy security. Given current circumstances and the additional potential for offshore resource exploration that Aruba, the Bahamas, the Dominican Republic, and Trinidad are considering, U.S. businesses have a significant opportunity to engage. Similarly, potential for cooperation with Canada through Keystone Pipeline and Mexico's energy sector reforms could truly take us a long way towards becoming North American energy independent if we work together to achieve that goal. Likewise, energy opportunities in Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, and Peru could also make our hemisphere even more energy independent. And then finally, in addition to jobs and energy, I believe that we must recall the wisdom of our founding fathers. In 1793, George Washington warned a young America that a reputation of weakness could lead to a loss of America's rank among nations, and that if we desire to secure peace, it must be known that we are at all times ready for war. Washington also believed a uniform and well-digested plan was vital to meeting these objectives. These words still ring true today: peace through strength. In the 112th Congress, I authorized legislation to address Iran's activity in the Western Hemisphere. Passed by both houses of Congress and signed into law by President Obama, this legislation required that the U.S. develop a strategy to counter Iran's activity in the region. The recent mysterious death of Argentine prosecutor Alberto Nisman underscores the importance of being alert instead of ignoring congressional concerns, as it seems the administration has done. Nisman bravely and boldly gave his life, holding the government of Iran accountable for its role in the 1994 Amia terrorist attack. Through meticulous work, he exposed Iran's operations in the Western Hemisphere, using embassies, mosques, front companies, intelligence bases, and sleeper cells to accomplish his purposes. I remain deeply concerned about Iran's actions in the Western Hemisphere, with evidence of a growing presence of China, North Korea, Russia, and here in the Americas. We must remain ever vigilant. With that, I turn to the ranking member, Albio Ceres, for his opening statement. I look forward to hearing from our expert panel of witnesses, and I thank you for being here today, and I look forward to a lot of great things happening on this subcommittee. And with that, I yield to the ranking member.